Why the win over Memphis proved how the Golden State Warriors can win an NBA championship. What's the formula? Kolsky and myself will tell you on today's Locked On Dubs. Let's go.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, what a win, everyone. Welcome to Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA, and you will get $20 off your first purchase. We come at you Monday through Friday, live after most every single game. We come at you weekends from time to time. You can find us on YouTube Shorts. You can find us wherever you get your audio podcasts. I'm on TikTok at It's Charlie Walter, on Instagram at CWalter22, and on Twitter, I post about once a month. Matt Kolsky joins. Apparently, he's a Threads guy. Who knew?
Threadsing it up.
Threadsing it up. We're here to break down the Warriors' 131-118 win. Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Kolsky, let's get into it, man. The thing I want to start with is that the Warriors, to me, their ceiling is determined by how good a trio of players are. I could say really everyone on the team aside from Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler. You know what you're getting from those two on a given night. Health, obviously huge, but those two, they're all-stars and beyond in terms of Steph Curry. The team's ceiling is going to be determined by guys like Jonathan Kaminga, Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, and everyone else. And today, those three dudes, Jonathan Kaminga, who set the tone, 9 of 14, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. He was everywhere. He was bouncy. He was grabbing rebounds. He was getting to the charity stripe. He was knocking down free throws. He led the way with 25 and 10, a double-double, also 4 assists. He's had a fantastic start to the season. Brandon Podziemski, not so much. Today, though, he wasn't pressing like Steve Kerr said to start the season. He was just awesome. 23 points, 5 of 7 from 3, 6 assists, some rebounds, a steal, no turnovers. Great stat line. And then Moses Moody got in on the fun in the second half. He had 20 points in the game. Butler had 20, Curry had 16. But those three are who I want to focus on in this first block. Warriors win it by 13. Let's start with JK, man. He's been awesome.
I'm sorry. I feel I need to start by addressing the Spencer issue that the chat has brought up because I texted you. Would you do me a favor and read the text that I sent you right as the final buzzer hit?
I haven't seen it yet. I was scrambling to create a show, but he said, that's the kind of Pat Spencer moment I can get behind with an exclamation point.
There it is. Proof positive that I don't dislike Pat Spencer at all. That was awesome. I love to see that in garbage time when it doesn't matter. Anyway, Jonathan Kuminga was awesome. He's been awesome to start the season. And I hate to sound like a broken record, but it is more about the approach than the results. The results have been great. I mean, particularly tonight, there were moments where on offense, he did all the things that, everyone's been hoping he would do for his whole career.
How many times did Fitz and Kalina say the word maturity tonight?
Yeah, for good reason, right? I can I name drop again? I texted my buddy Bonte in the middle of tonight's game. We were talking about Kaminga, and he was like, "Yeah, pretty awesome, huh?" And I was like, this is incredible, and I've defended him at times when very few people were, and I'll defend him if it goes that way again. But I have to say, it would have been a lot easier to defend him if he had been rebounding like this for the last couple of years. Because, look, I did defend him, but this was the argument. The argument was, with that athleticism, if you just focused on rebounding, you could do this. tonight was his first double-double of the season. You know, he had 9 rebounds in another game. And last year he had 2 double-doubles and 2 9-rebound games. So he's produced half of what he did in 47 games last year from a rebounding perspective. Half as many, you know, big rebound games already in 4 nights.
Not
What
bad.
do you got? Well, you know, yeah, this is what you want. And you know, that path we talked about, that sort of narrow potential path that seemed to be disappearing by the day as the summer wore on, where somehow he does do the right things and he does fit into this team and he does just basically become the answer to Steve Kerr's prayers. And maybe somehow he's on this team in the future. That path is widening again. I really believe that. And honestly, even if that path is not widening, the ability to trade him for things that matter is skyrocketing. Because people around the league,
up.
I mean, stock.
Kramers, buy. Kaminga, buy. I mean,
Exactly. So I want to pose this hypothetical to you. And I told you I had a ridiculous hypothetical, and I want to make that clear that, you know, this is a Fantasyland ridiculous, silly hypothetical, but I think it's instructive. If I told you, Chuck Walter, that after we get off the show tonight, you were going to be visited by an evil spirit, and the evil spirit was going to say, you know, Ja Morant cast a spell. He's cursed the Golden State Warriors. Ooh. And you, Chuck Walter, it is the spooky season after all. You, Chuck Walter, have to make this decision. And we're going to go with tomorrow's presumed starting lineup, which is to say Al Horford rather than Brandon Podziemski. Okay. And your veritable Sophie's choice is this. You have to name one member of that presumptive Warriors starting lineup. And the Warriors are going to be without that player for the next 40 basketball games. That's the curse. Who do you think this team, from what we've seen through 4 games, can most afford to live without for 40 games out of that 5? So Steph, Jimmy, JK, Draymond, and Al Horford.
I mean, it's too.
First of all, I would just like to acknowledge that the fact that it's so difficult is really saying something. But go ahead, answer what you were about to say, because yes, it is.
I mean, a week ago, the obvious answer is Jonathan Kaminga.
Of course.
But when he goes out there and puts up 25 and 10 and just it's no longer some stat padding or just off it. I mean, it's all around just good basketball, like making good decisions, not rushing plays. There was 1, maybe 2 bad turnovers tonight, and that was really it. And then aside from that, I think he got stripped once. Pretty flawless game.
Okay, I mean, so who were you going to say, though, Chuck? Stop delaying.
I was going to say Draymond Green.
That's right.
But
that's right.
It's probably Al Horford. It's got to be Al Horford.
All right.
You trade for big argument at the deadline or something. That's the
argument. No. It's the next 40 games, not the last 40 games. It's the next 40 games. That's the important thing, because I would never make the argument that you would not want Draymond Green or Al Horford down the stretch. But if we're talking about
it's hard.
If we're talking about the first 40 games of the season, I think what we've seen from Kaminga would tell me let that old man rest, whether it's Draymond or Al. And the reason I would pick Draymond is because, honestly, and tonight was probably his best game.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, but I think he looks his age more than just about any of the other experienced guys, any of the other seasoned gentlemen on this roster. Steph, I mean, forget it. You know, you got to rest him at some point, but he looks ageless, even on a night like tonight where he takes it kind of easy. Like, come on, he's ridiculous. Jimmy is Jimmy. You know, he's not 26-year-old springs in his legs, Jimmy, but he does his thing and he gets the job done. Al Horford might not look 20, but he doesn't look 39. And frankly, I think you just need his particular size and shooting on some nights in a way that you don't necessarily need Draymond. The things that Draymond does that are most important are just absolutely brilliant top-level defense, including against big guys. He can only do that so many times, especially at his age. And look, I'm not saying you sit Draymond for 40 games. This hypothetical I bring up because I do think it's instructive that, like, tomorrow, for instance, Al Horford's going to be in the game. And I said on Friday or whenever we last, talked before the last back-to-back, I don't think any of these guys really want to sit out, and that's still true. But I would give a real thought to resting Draymond Green. And I would give a real thought to resting Steph sometime in this first couple weeks, because the more I watch of this and the more I see, especially when you see Pods and Moody shoot the way they did tonight, like, let the kids take a crack at a game, especially if you're maybe already winning the week, as they keep noting, because the most important thing, the most important thing I think we can plainly see already is that these old men are healthy come playoff time. Because if they are, you're going to give them a puncher's chance against just about anybody.
All right, you've been waiting for this day, Kolsky. Our friend Kevin, who we know because he sports one of the great mustaches, beards in all of the land.
I don't know what to tell you. Hypotheticals are a great tradition.
No, I've just been saying he's been calling JK lose Minga for the longest time in the chat, and even he has to admit, he has to come in there and say #winning. I mean, he made winning basketball plays. The plus minus backs it up. There are no arguments right now that JK is not playing great basketball offensively. Defensively, make your arguments, whatever. But the Warriors win by 13 points. There's no time for negatives in this one. Let's get to more of the positives. A great start and just stepping on Memphis's throats after the debacle that was Portland. Podziemski, Moody, all this to come on Locked On Warriors. There it is.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. I'm a big fan of Monarch Money because it puts everything into one and makes managing your finances so much easier. Some of the things that's great with Monarch Money, between your 401k, savings, investments, you can lose track, and that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch, because it's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. What I like about it is all your different accounts with little icons next to it, emojis, I guess we can say, of how you're spending your money and how you can separate things and make sure that you're staying on track. You can review everything with your partner, your shared goals. It makes your financial decisions so much better. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. If you use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com, you'll get 50% off your first year. That is monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Let me tell you a little bit about Game Time and why now is the perfect time to get in on the action with Game Time. Basketball season's officially here. You got NFL season, baseball, hockey. Today was the sports equinox, we call it. And that's where Game Time comes in. It's the app that gives fan advantages. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. You use it for tickets, obviously, and what you see is what you pay. There's no hidden fees at checkout. Plus, you can see what your view looks like with a panoramic view of your seat before you buy the tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. You can even find NBA tickets for under $25. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. That is code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
And buddy, stop trying to dribble the ball.
All right, Kolsky. We didn't see a ton of Buddy dribbling the ball today. In fact, we haven't really got that big-time Buddy game. Maybe one, but today was not one of those. He went 0 of 5 from 3. It was Podziemski, it was Moody, it was Kaminga, it was Jimmy Butler, it was Steph Curry who paced the way in double figures for the Warriors. Draymond Green had 7 in the game. But, man, this is just what the doctor ordered because Portland was an ugly game, and that happens in the NBA. Unless you're Oklahoma City, everyone's going to lose. And I guess unless you're Oklahoma City, the Spurs, the Bulls, or the Sixers right now, you wouldn't have thought those three would be 3 of the 4 undefeated. But it was just what the doctor ordered because this is a league where the teams that are the best are the ones that get over losses the quickest and don't let bad days amount into a bad week. First 70 seconds, first 4 seconds of the game, Podziemski hit a 3. First 70 seconds, it's 7-0 Warriors. There's a timeout. And then there's a little push from Memphis in the first half. They take the lead at one point. And aside from that little stretch, it was all Warriors the entire game. What most impressed you about the just about wire-to-wire domination?
Most impressed me. That's an interesting question. I think maybe I'll do a politician on you and answer a different question, which is most compelling and important good game. And I think Podziemski is the answer to that. We've seen this from Kaminga almost every night. Sure, again, like a little more explosive on offense, maybe. But we know what Jimmy Butler can do. No one is concerned by Steph Curry only scoring 16 points when that's all he needs to do. And we know Moody can have a night where he knocks down 5 threes, right? Like that's basically what we've seen Moses Moody do on his best nights. Pods has really been struggling. People were hating on Pods after a good night before we even started the show in the chat, right? Like Pods has had a rough go of it. A lot has been hung on his shoulders by himself and by the organization. And I think you see why on a night like tonight, because it's not just the 23 points. It's 6 assists. It's 3 rebounds, and it could have been more. It's clever stuff. He hit like a 15-foot floater at one point in this game. He had it going. And when he has it going, you can see the picture, fuzzy and blurry, as an impressionist painting anyway, of him leading this organization into the future in some form or fashion.
He either
right?
goes for like 23 and 6 or just plays terrible. There has not been a lot of in between. He's been so inconsistent. But
Well, that's
right.
been weird
he's had
though,
some
right?
Awesome games.
That thing was kind of it's the opposite of that made him so appealing to them as a rookie, isn't it?
That
there was less
even keeled. He was steady,
Yeah.
but since he broke his nose and wore the mask last year, it's been like, his splits are ridiculous.
It's been a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's like 50% one month and 14 the next from deep.
And honestly, that's another reason why I think if I'm them, and it's going to be a hard sell to Jimmy and Draymond and Steph, but like I start rotating some rest in early because I want to really give a guy like Pods some runway, not just minutes. He'll get minutes, but some runway to have the ball in his hands, to make decisions, to get comfortable. I just think Steve Kerr and the Warriors as an organization have made these decisions to choose players who already are comfortable, but are not a part of their future, because it meant a higher chance of winning one game in the past years. And in a year where they know they have to rest and they know that the health of their best players is the most important thing, I would love to see a slight change in approach to where guys like Pods and Moody and even Will Richard, not to mention Kaminga, get a little more runway to do more than they usually would for a team at the competitive level of the Warriors. And
I completely disagree. Save that for the Nets. You need all the wins you can get to start this season, man.
you do and you don't. Like, look at the position they were in last season.
Yeah, because they rattled off like 18 of their last 21 and got no rest going into the playoffs.
But they had a terrible stretch in the middle of the season. The question is really like not.
They went to the play-in. We don't want that. We don't want to have to play San Antonio or.
We don't want that. We don't want that. You're right. And I'm not saying throw everything away because I don't think that's what I'm talking about. But if they, again, for instance, rest Draymond tomorrow, I don't think that's throwing away a game against the Clippers. You're bringing Al Horford back. Like, yes, it's handicapping yourself slightly against the Clippers, undoubtedly. But some extra minutes for JK. You get Guy Santos out there to foul somebody for 5-7 minutes. He played well tonight. Like that, there are things. You get Trace out there to bang bodies with Zubac. There are things you can do.
Based on the last few years, you're probably not beating the Clippers regardless. So
it's not. No, I think you should beat the Clippers, frankly. But that's not it. What it is
beat them in 2 years.
Last year's the perfect point, Chuck, because. Yeah, they had to play in the plan, and you'd rather not do that. But the issue, the reason we think everyone sort of believes that they didn't at least take a nice crack at going to the conference finals, at minimum, is an injury to one of their older, most important players. And it wasn't the seeding. They were capable of beating allegedly better teams on their home floor, right? It wasn't the record in the regular season that cost them. It was what they had left in the legs of their best players. And I think that lesson is something to think about. And look, they lost to Portland the other night, right? But they beat Denver. It's not who you lose to or when you lose. And sometimes, like, if they had rested everybody,
Are you saying this is a pick your spots type of season?
Yes. And if they had rested Jimmy, Steph, and Draymond against Portland, given the way that game went, are you sure they wouldn't have had a better chance of winning? I know that sounds ridiculous, but those guys were gassed, especially by the end of the Portland game. I don't know, just something to think about. And it's a hard decision. And I'm not saying I know everything on this. I'm just saying I would start to think about that stuff because the way they said win the week so many times, right? Almost feels like let's bank a couple wins early in the week so we can take it easy a little bit.
2-1, 2-1. Next
what?
thing you know, you're 10-5.
That is 50 wins. 50 plus. You can go 2-2 a couple times in there.
So
and
we
get to
treating
50.
this like baseball where we have a rubber match? You get 3 games a week or whatever? And
not usually, right? But I don't know that again, if we conceive of Al Horford as the starting center and the old guys with Kaminga as the preferred starting lineup, I don't think anyone's ever fielded a starting lineup that old, maybe ever, but certainly not for a team that wins anything. So you're in uncharted territory here, is all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying. You're in uncharted territory here. And again, to the point of the people on the I'm not trying to crap on Portland. I'm not trying to crap on anything. I'm not even saying this is necessarily the right idea, but it's certainly something I would consider taking into account the big picture of who these guys are, what happened last year, and what it's looked like through 4 games. Because most importantly, what it's looked like through 4 games is a team that if they are fully healthy, I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs.
No, I wouldn't, Kolsky. And I think this is a fair conversation to have in like February, but we're not even to Halloween yet. Let's just play the guys and win some damn games. Jimmy Butler, man, was so damn good. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, hit both of his threes. Is there a stronger player that doesn't, I mean, I guess he looks pretty damn strong, but like, is there a stronger player that is deceivingly not, I mean, he's a big dude, don't get me wrong, but he manhandles everyone, like everyone. And by the way, that Cedric Coward guy for Memphis. He's going to be a
Very
nice
good.
player. Yeah, he's going to be a nice player. He knows how to play ball.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, he does the most important things really well. I think that the question of how high his ceiling is will be interesting, and he's going to have to handle the ball. But he plays defense. He's a big-time athlete. He can knock down threes. A lot to like about that guy.
A lot to like about Jimmy, though. I mean, how strong is he? Every single time, he just gives someone the little chicken wing, the shoulder, and no one can stop him, truly.
He's always been a better athlete than people have imagined. He always, like, no one ever thought of Jimmy Butler as, you know, a Kaminga type of athlete. And look, very few people are really a Kaminga type of athlete. But Butler used to jump over people, sort of surprise you back in the day. And it's like all of that explosive athleticism that used to be defined by big leaping is now defined by positioning and strength and like, I don't even want to call it old man strength. It's just like a solid base, and he uses it to just so cleverly, man. The way he catches balls, because he's not jumping. I mean, he jumps plenty high, but he's not jumping through the ceiling anymore. And he can just like maneuver his body in almost any scenario to where I think actually the Warriors are getting spoiled about where to throw it on some of those entry passes. They're just kind of lobbing it generally towards the low post. And they're like, he says, you know, if it's anywhere close, he's taking it away from whoever's up there. He seems to have a spectacular ability to put two full meat hook palms on the ball at once, right? Like instantly, I mean. So those balls come in, and sometimes the other guy gets a hand on it, but Jimmy's just like, whoop, and then it's, you know, he's awesome. He is, to be fair, like I've been watching Jimmy Butler his whole career, and I knew this was coming. Shout out Germany. All right, look at that.
Good
Kenny
morning.
Powers,
Morning.
way eastbound and down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Jimmy Butler is a total difference maker for this team. And there was at least a couple times tonight where you saw him also look around and say, all right, it's time for this possession to get the old Jimmy Butler treatment, and just slowed it down, killed a little clock, bumped some bodies, and either scored, found an open shooter, or went to the line.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to add to your team, and not to throw any shade or anything, but Andrew Wiggins has not gotten off to a great start for Miami by any means. So, you okay? Good God.
I was not expecting Wiggins shade. Sorry.
No, we love Andrew Wiggins. I'm just saying you made a great trade. You
Yeah,
made a great trade.
no, I
Jimmy
mean-
Butler's awesome.
No need for Andrew Wiggins to catch strays. I inhaled some of my soda, but yes, great trade.
Have
No
a
question
Fanta.
about that.
Have a Fanta, Kolsky. Have a Fanta.
If
When
only.
we return, let's talk about some Moses Moody and what's next for the Golden State Warriors. That's coming up.
Who can stop Steph Curry?
Hopefully, we'll never find out.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back. There is no better way to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Warriors today, they obviously covered the spread. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Let's get back to the show.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
Oh, how good it is to have Moses Moody back, Kolsky. He goes for 20 points in his 22 minutes. Now, I don't have the exact statistics in front of me, but I feel like all of those points had to have came in the second half. I really didn't notice a ton of Moses in the first, and he just went off in the second half. 5 of 7 from 3.
Yeah, he had a stretch where he was just absolutely raining threes in the second half. He had 1 3 in the first half, 1 for 1. He was perfect for most of the game. I think he missed his last couple shots, actually. But almost as big as that, I think, is like he really adds a lot to the perimeter defense of this team. He just moves. And it's funny because he was criticized for this early in his career, but he really got better at it. He moves laterally around the perimeter really well against pretty quick players. I almost feel, he doesn't look fast.
He's just long.
But he's long. You know who he reminds me of? And this is going to sound like damning with faint praise, but I mean it as a huge compliment. And I think he probably learned a lot from Kevon Looney. Looney used to get everybody who could handle, used to think, Kevon Looney's out here. I'm going to drag him out to the 3-point line and cook him. And rarely did that turn out well for the ball handler because Looney was really smart and long-armed and really good footwork. And eventually people stopped trying. And I really do think that Moody learned, I mean, if not from Looney, then just, from coaching, he has learned how to really use his width to maneuver himself on the perimeter and defend guys that are much quicker than him. And I think, in some ways defend those positions as well as Jonathan Kaminga, who's obviously much quicker than him. So it's a huge credit to Moses Moody. And when he is also knocking down shots, he makes a huge difference to this team. I mean, the defense helps regardless, but when he's also shooting like that, and I have said, I do think that shot is a pure one. It's just a matter of getting it to be consistent.
Are you shocked at how much better the Warriors offense has been as compared to their defense right now? I'm going to get up the exact list, but I know the Warriors before this game were 27th defensively and offensively. I mean, they're putting up, it feels like 130 points a game. They got to be up there.
I'm not shocked. No. I think the defensive energy and effort has been pretty good.
Deflections per game, Warriors are second in the NBA behind only the Cavs. That's the stat I always love looking at. Deflection.
Well, and it's the thing that a lot of guys on this team do well, but it's also a thing that is easily achieved by intelligence and guile, right? When you are playing older, less fleet of foot guys as much as they are, one-on-one defense is going to be their biggest defensive challenge. And when they come up against talented offensive players, which, I think they have this year, plus the Blazers who just went off, I think they're going to give up points, but they're going to be smart. And I think they're going to make plays in big spots defensively because they got those type of guys. And if they continue to play the way they have on offense, I think that's enough.
Warriors 126 points, fourth most in the NBA right now. Leading the way, actually, the Charlotte Hornets, shockingly, who have gotten off to a decent start, a good start for them, 2-1. LaMelo Ball's cooking right now. Real quick, we got a minute or two. The NBA as a whole right now, what has really impressed you? Obviously, the Spurs, who I picked fifth, have been extremely impressive.
Yeah.
On the other side, in the East, one of my All-NBA picks, Cade Cunningham, I would like to take that back and throw in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Hand up, I was wrong. Not that Cade's bad by any means, but I've seen enough to just say it's going to be Shai if he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, that was always a ridiculous take, but I don't think
it's called being bold, Kolsky.
You're right. That was always, I apologize. That was always a bold take. Not to say that Cade Cunningham could be like a theoretical all NBA level player. That was just a mild, that was like a jalapeno take. But putting Shai behind him was ghost pepper level scorching. So
I told
anyway,
you, the 2K curse, man.
Yeah, right. So you still have that on the table because the only way it happens is an injury. Anyway, I think it's what you just put on the screen. And what you mentioned without saying the
The
man's
Spurs 4-0, destroying everyone without De'Aaron Fox, who, if you don't
It's
remember,
just-
a couple of years ago, like he's damn good.
name. Yeah, man. And it's not even 4-0 or I'm sorry. I'm talking as here it is. A plus 16.5 point differential in those 4 wins. Like, come on. And, they're not playing great teams, but yeah, they're slapping people, but it's not any of that. It's just watching Wembanyama. He really,
It's unstoppable.
dude.
You know,
I don't-
who gave him the best test is Zion Williamson, because he goes at him and he's
Right.
hard to stop, and he got him in foul trouble. Actually, I think Wemby fouled out of the game. Williamson had like 27.
Yeah.
He dunked over him. He put some floaters up
Uh-huh.
over him. That's the type of player that can neutralize him to a degree, but
Mhm.
I think Wemby still had 35 or whatever. On
Yeah,
Zion.
but think about what you just said. The type of player. How many Zions are there? How many, super athletic, crazy, thick dudes like that? Yeah, sure. If Zion really attacks at him, he might give him a little bit of trouble. But think about what we're saying. He's what, 20? And I've never seen anything like it. Nothing to even compare it to.
I have an
It's-
NBA
if-
Live
it's-
2003, my
Well,
creative
that's
players.
that
were
is the
Rusty
only
Nail.
thing.
Yeah, 7-7 with a 99 and everything.
It's the only thing to compare it to is a
Yeah.
creative player, because legitimately no one would have ever believed you if you had said in the 2000s, if you had walked up to Shaq and Kobe as they were winning titles in the early 2000s and been like, you should see this kid that's about to be born. He's going to be 7'6", and he's going to have handle kind of like Kobe, and he's going to have post game kind of like Shaq, but taller and
A
skinnier.
jumper like Rick Fox.
Yeah, not even Rick Fox. A jumper like, for their purposes, a jumper like practically Ray Allen. I mean, not Ray Allen, but whoever, a jumper
Derek
like
Fisher.
Trajan Langdon. I don't know. None of those Lakers were great 3-point shooters, actually. But whatever. The point is, even 20 years ago, even the dudes who are on TV talking about the NBA right now, when they were playing, could never have even begun to imagine what this guy is. And I don't know, man. I guess I thought this level was still a year or two away, but it's not. It seems like it's here right now, and I think he legitimately has a
He's
chance
awesome.
to be the MVP this year.
He's awesome. That's what I said in our preseason show. I will take credit for saying he's here. Cade Cunningham, yes, there was a comment that popped in and said, bro folded with less than 10 games played. He went like 3 of 15 today. He's had a couple bad performances to the point where I think I put him in there over Giannis too.
That's why
Like,
we
at this
call him
point,
Reactionary Chuck,
I take it back. I take back what I said. At the end of the day, I want to be right.
If Cade goes on a run, he'll be back on first team. Don't you guys worry.
Yes, we'll see you in February, Cade. This is Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Warriors get the win. They're 3-1.
Let's go. Win in the weeks, baby.
Win in the weeks. See you soon.